Alright folks, for this video works for this week's video. I got it out. I want to cover a little factor on CPUs. This is just kind of a first look video to show you where things have kind of gone on the CPU. I know most home users, this is going to be probably above your educational level, probably above what you want to know. So this would be more informational in case you decide you want to upgrade. That you know kind of some information, because you may decide you want a custom built PC and you want to go out and tell someone this is what you want. So hopefully this information will help you out. IT professionals, if you're young, you probably don't know this. You're coming into the age where you don't see things like this anymore. I don't even know if you can find this anywhere anymore. I've had this sitting around for probably 20 years, 15 years. Why? I don't know. I've had it stashed away. Probably for today to show you. Another one you probably won't ever find. Well, you will find this design in this size, because there are still some of these style processors out there that have pins. Now, if you didn't understand between the first two and this one what the difference is, it's the pins. There are pins on here. Pins. Basically like a needle. Push pin. Little pin. You might be going, what do you mean there's pins on those and not on the others? Difference is, with the processor changing, the pins came off of here. And if you check out my motherboard video, you'll see more on it. And actually went to here in the socket. There's old pins with springs in there that actually press against the CPU now. Where before, you used to put the CPU in, there was a slider that pushed the little plates over that touched against the pins. Different. So, this is what this video is about. Showing you this. I don't know if anybody else caught it from me laying them here, but there's also a major difference. The nanometers, the size of those processors. If you take a closer look, you'll see they kind of changed drastically between here and here. You have a few little chips around the pins, and you have your main CPU unit. This is an older Pentium, I believe. To clean the top off. Yeah, it's an Intel Pentium. This one's basically the same. You have your main. And all of a sudden, when you go to the pin list, you got a lot more circuits in here. So that's a factor also that takes place in the CPU generations. These are different sizes, different form factors basically. These aren't interchangeable. Most processors in the old days really weren't interchangeable. Nowadays, you got into a more of a platform where you can go an i3, i5, i7, i9 all on the same board. Didn't used to be that way in the old days. There's a lot of other factors that come into play. Check out the motherboard video. It'll go into those details. But for this video, I just wanted to go over the CPUs. I wanted you to actually physically see a CPU. What did they actually look like? And again, this is on a lot of my other videos. Where did it start? Where are we at today? Where could the possible future be? Now, there's a lot of factors that aren't being shown in here. There was a lot of things that had changed over the years kind of in between this. There was a slot 1 that was a board processor that went in. There was a couple different little designs that went in over the years. And they basically went back to the same design. It's just they took the pins off and they changed a few factors around. Motherboard designs, the controllers, and all these type of things changed also. So these are all factors I wanted to bring up so that people out there like you, or even an IT professional that hasn't been around for a long time, can see. You may be able to go online, find some videos or photos of some older CPUs. The old 386, old 486 processors. Those are the old ancients. Those are the old boys. Those are the big boys. Why I say they're big boys? Not because they're powerful, because they were big. A lot of things in those were state of the art, were really interesting design, and shockingly large but small. You did not have a memory stick. You had a memory card. And if you know what a card is in a modern day computer, it was basically the same. It was your memory card. And it would have less than like a meg of memory, or 4 megs of memory, because you didn't use 30 gigs of memory like you do now. So there's a lot of, or 30 gigs of memory, or whatever astronomical number we're putting in these things for, depending on your purposes. But those were high-end type of units. But those are running DOS. I don't know if anybody caught that. DOS, not Windows. This was before Windows. Windows was coming out around that time. So I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, but this is a factor when it comes to CPUs. This is where they all came from. Now, I threw out that word DOS. DOS can still be run today. There's not a whole lot of programs for it that I know of. At least gaming, there's not a whole lot of. But it can still be run. So it's old. It can still run on modern stuff. Sure, it won't run on every core and everything, because unless there's an updated version out there where somebody's updated some of that coding, but it's still a viable option out there. Would you do it today? Probably not. Almost everybody's probably running in a different operating system, a more modern operating system. So I wanted to bring that factor up. And I'm sure if you're watching this video and you said, oh, how silly he is, he's doing a video on a CPU first look. Yeah, it is kind of silly, but I'm doing this for the people that need to know the information. You may know it, you may not have known it. But again, this is why I'm doing these videos, to get this information out there, to let people see this information. Let them see it. This isn't me telling you about it without me showing you. This is what I like to do. This is what I've done for a long time when I help people with computers, is I show them these things. I teach them these things. I try to get them going in the right path they need to get going. these are why I'm doing these videos. So make sure you hit the subscribe down there so that I know you get it and everybody else gets it, what my game plan is and why I'm doing this. Make sure you hit the bell down there so you get all the future updates of all my postings, because a lot of these first looks will go more into depth. And again, if you want to know more information, do your homework, shop around. Don't wait on me to give you the information. Okay? I want to press that point because I will put videos out covering a lot of details, but I also want you to go out and see other videos. I want you to compare. I want you to make sure you understand whatever you're looking up. I don't want you to take anybody's word at face value, because I've seen a lot of things and a lot of craziness out there. So, want to bring that up again. I know I've brought it up a few times, but I want to bring that up again. But as for CPUs, this was just kind of a first look. Again, this is more of what the new modern design is. Intel, AMD, I'm sure most of the other third parties out there that make chips for everything else are similar design now. I don't think anybody's using the pin, but this video was basically to show you the new platform design that is pinless compared to the pin. Will they ever go back to pin? I don't know. They may not. They may end up going to like a ribbon connection, like your hard drives, or some other form at one day, at one time, that where it will just snap in. Might be a better format, might not. Problem is now other factor you have with CPUs is the cooling. Wanted to go just touch on that. Cooling is a major factor, especially nowadays. A lot of these CPUs are getting water cooled with water blocks and all of that type of stuff. But there's still the old air cooling, the heat sink with the fan. That is a factor when you come to CPUs. I know a lot of people don't really get into that. They get into it later when you build a computer and all that type of stuff. But this is my first look just on CPUs. When I get into taking apart a computer, building a computer, I will go into more details. But I wanted to bring that up because they go together. They're not separate. A lot of people want to separate the two. You should not put that in a computer and turn it on without your cooling package on there. Because what will happen is that will overheat super fast and burn out. I want to point that out. Then you fry or burn out your processor, your CPU. You don't want to do that. That's why I'm bringing that up. Your cooling package is very important. When I get into videos or check out someone else's videos on that, on about how to put the proper cooling package on your CPU, a lot of variables due to your case, due to your airflow, due to your fans, a lot of things that come into factors when you do cooling. So that'll have to be a whole different video. But as for the CPU video, that is crucial that you know that, because I don't want you going out buying a CPU, putting it in. I want to see how much better this does compared to my old one before you put your cooling, your fan, your heat sink, water block, whatever, back on the new CPU. That's a critical thing you need to do. So, I think it's more of, you should know this. It's kind of the best practice where people just don't talk about it because you're supposed to know it's best practice. You're supposed to do this. I'm bringing this up. I'm hammering this in because a lot of people just jump over it. Want to make sure, again, that they understand cooling the CPU is critical as the CPU itself. They go together. You can't change the CPU and not think about your cooling package. Okay? So I think that will cover all I want to cover for this video on the CPU. Of course, you can see the different form factors, how they get smaller over the generations. I believe even the new ones out now are even smaller than this one I have. Thank you.